Hello, everyone. Wow. Daniel, thank you for the gift sub. And to Grace herself, our special guest today. That's so kind of you. And we have Augustus has returned from his long journey.
Drinking water today because it's way too early to drink wine.
It's too early for wine, I'm so sorry.
Just can't quite stomach it this early.
Thank you, Daniel, for the confirmation. I think everything's going good so far with the stream, so I think we're feeling like we're ready to get started. Let me just review the chat here because there's so much love in it. Thank you, Skullsy P and Mr. X for being here from the Golden Shrimp Guilds for our chat with Grace, who is a crossover of this Synth Friends thing that we do, but she's also in the Golden Shrimp Guild, which is how we know her. Welcome in, Obama's Weed Man. Good to see you. So much love, so much energy for Grace. Appreciate it. Let me get my Twitch app open so I can make sure that what I perceive is working is actually working. And Gus is going to abruptly cut off the tape loop for everyone and ruin the vibes and stab you in the heart.
Happy to do it.
That's his role here. Okay, everything looks good. Thank you all for sitting through our testing module of the evening. Thank you for being here. It's actually 3 p.m. here, so it's late afternoon. We're doing this because of scheduling stuff. We just kind of keep our Thursdays open for Synth Friends, and whenever the person that we're connecting with is available is when we do it, pretty much. So far, it's been an average of 6
Usually
p.m.
how it works out.
But today, it's going to be 3 p.m., which is right now. So our friends in Europe can join us. So I'm glad to see that everyone's here. Thank you all so much. So let me hop into the Zoom. And I will join Grace between the dimensions. Between dimensions, we will join forces through the internet. And there she is! Welcome to the stream, Grace. Welcome to Synth Friends.
Thanks for having me.
What's
Hope
up?
you can hear me.
We can hear you. Can the chat hear you? That's what we want to confirm. That's most important.
The magic of technology.
We're here for it. I feel like our color vibes really match today.
I know. We accidentally both chose purple.
Like, but light, but like ethereal, you know?
Very, very like ombre, you know?
Yes. I'm only saying this because I've seen your streams and they always surprise me because you change the experience as it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, recently I got an upgrade. I put a green screen track in around. So,
oh, that's right. That's what I saw.
Yeah. So, like, I think most of my streams in the past week have just been like a bunch of like Halloween spooky videos in the background. But before that, I would normally do a wash like this. But I think the lovely thing about like both of those options is, at least for me, I always feel like I'm changing the colors based on my mood anyways. So it's lovely just to take a white wall and make it something different with like a click of a button.
Yeah.
It's so fun to me because I'm such a moody person. There, I've said it. I'm owning it. I'm reclaiming it.
Heard it here, folks.
I am moody and I'm in touch with my moods. And when I walk into this space, I'd always, to like feel my mood expressed through color. I'm saturated in it. And then I can change it all the time. Like you said, just a little click of a button.
Little click of the button. Plus, like, you got that sick alien. You got that sick alien in the corner, too.
That we actually won. I won at a carnival game. We went to like
Go figure.
Hello, by the way. My name is Augustus. I was not on the pre-screen
I know.
chat.
No worries.
thing.
No worries. I was like,
nope,
I've met
you don't get
Jacqueline.
introduced, okay? You just have
No
to guess who this
introduction.
is, and we have to just.
I'll
keep
just
going.
block it out. I'm like, I've only met Jacqueline. I can only talk to like part one of.
As you can tell,
Galaxy
I'm just
Electric.
like intros and welcomes and goodbyes are not. I don't know why. I'm just like, let's talk about your deepest stuff. Let's go right now. Let's go. I don't need to know your name. It's fine. No, yes, I'm so sorry. We did a little pre-screen thing, so we already have a thing going. We have a vibe, so I was just running with it. But this is Augustus. This is Grace.
Hello.
We've seen each other's
Nice to meet you.
streams. So this is like, how can we take the way we interact with each other on the internet with chat mostly, right? One-dimensional through social media, YouTube, whatever, experiencing each other and like be in the same space and like
Georgia.
experience something together that we are both part of. Takes it to the third dimension, I think.
I definitely feel like it's like 4D chess in a
Yeah.
sense. Because like on one hand, I'm like paying attention to what you're saying. On the other hand, I'm just like spamming emotes in the chat because that's what I live my life for.
I live my life for it. Exactly.
Yeah, but it's such a different experience doing this as opposed to just streamer to chat, as opposed to like streamer to streamer and then chat.
Yeah, this is an experiment we've been doing. This is our 10th episode, actually. Congrats.
Whoa,
Hey.
10!
It started, I didn't even put episode 1 on the first episode because I didn't know we were doing a thing. Like, it was just, literally, I think it's like the only thing ever where we were like, hey, what if we did this? And then we just did it.
The thing with committing,
but I just feel like we thought it. We both said yes. The first person we thought of said yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just that, and then we just did it. And
had Grant have said no.
That's why Grant is the Kevin Bacon.
I feel like we'd be in different territory right now with this.
You'd be like episode -5. You're like, we had an idea, it was trashed.
We've had some of those too, though.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some of those too, though. Mr. X resubscribed for 2 months. Holy cow, for the 10th episode of Synth Friends. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. X, for that support. I'm pretty sure Mr. X is probably one of the reasons we even know each other anyway.
What are we gonna do?
I feel like Mr. X has his hands in a lot of spaces. I know, like, he's the reason I got involved with the Golden Shrimp Guild.
Exactly.
Because he was like, oh, you want to join a raid train? Oh, yeah, sure. Why not?
Exactly. You know? We should talk about that, too, in probably a more intentional way, because I'm just like, it's so exciting because I know we're, like, bringing 2 worlds together, like, which is our world from my standpoint. Synth Friends has been mostly people we know on Instagram. Mm-hmm. That we've just accumulated these like connections with people that aren't as tangible. So we're like, let's make them more tangible. But you being part of the Twitch world and connecting on Instagram, it's like, oh, okay. We're taking this again, 4 dimensions. Plus the chat is just going crazy. So I always feel like I want to make sure I acknowledge Dwoger for being here and for spamming the chat with robots. Vlad Tepes, thank you for first time chatting. Thank you for coming in. Welcome in. Everyone is welcome here. And yeah, everyone just keep throwing cats at us. We really want you to do that.
The internet is built for cats.
Internet is built for cats. So personally for me, Twitch is like the first place I felt like, yes, I want to spend time here. Just like as a user too. Mm-hmm. And as a streamer, especially as a streamer. But like when I first joined just as a user and I started to understand what was actually going on, because at first I like really didn't understand what was going on.
It's a lot.
It was so much.
Yeah.
And now I'm like slinging the lingo around like it's nothing.
You're putting those chat commands in chat. You know what an exclamation point means when you look in someone's bio. You're like, oh, if I do this, something cool will happen.
I know. And it's so funny because like somebody last week was like, I don't know what this command shit is, but like here's my answer to what's going on right now. And we're all just like, it's okay. It's just an exclamation point. And I was like, oh, wow. I forgot what it was like to not know what a command is.
Yeah.
And there was a time when, if you had asked me that, I would have said, okay, I guess I'm going to die in Squid Games because I don't know what that means.
Well, who were the channels that first got you started on Twitch?
Ooh, I love that because this is going to segue so good.
Twitch is great. Let's hope Elon Musk doesn't buy it.
Oh, please. Don't even put that out there. I take it
we
back.
We gotta knock on wood.
Knock on all this fake wood? No, really.
Thank you for the harp knock.
So when I first got onto Twitch, I think it was like Earth Modular Society. The people who were just like doing like a raid, but it's all like a pre-recorded video. You know, it's not actually a raid train. It's one channel, and they're just playing synth videos 24/7. So there's that. And then I think, some podcasts that I listen to have a Twitch stream. So that brought me here. But then really it was the DJs. So
Ooh.
Lizzie Curious is one of my top 5s.
Okay.
Highly recommend. She's out of the UK. One of the beach towns. So she has this her whole Instagram is like beach vibes, but she's in England, so it's like it hurts my brain sometimes.
Yeah, because you're just like clouds, rain.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
she's
like,
at
how
the
much
beach
beach?
doing the club life, and I'm
Maybe it's
just like,
escapism in a sense. She's
It
like, I'm stuck
is.
here.
That is
Beach
so
vibes.
true. That is so true. So finding her channel led me to community on Twitch is its own thing, and she's rocking her vibe and her community so hard that it taught me what it's like to have community on Twitch, and drew me deeper. And then I found all these people through her, and then we started finding more of how to do this, and then eventually Bardic, who we all know.
Yay, Bardic!
Shout out to Bardic.
Shout out Bardic, yeah.
Joined one of our movie nights, and we convinced him to come back for a synth stream. And then he was like, okay, you should join us. I was like, what's us? What are you talking about?
Is there a collective? Are we the Borg? What is this?
Yeah, I'm still not sure. I would say I'm still figuring it out, but I'm happy to be here. Happy it all happened. So what's your Twitch story? I rambled about mine.
Well, I think
Fett.
classic
I just saw that.
Boba Fett. Oh my gosh. Bardic is a Boba Fett of the synth scene, the headhunter. I mean, honestly, that makes a lot of sense.
That I 100% agree with, and I need that to be enshrined somehow.
Kind of
does he need an emote that's like a Boba Fett, but it's Bardic? How do we do that?
Can it be animated where it's just
Yes.
the helmet and then a hand coming for you?
Yeah, I need that. Someone
Yeah.
make that, please. Who does
That
those?
would
Let's Fiverr it.
I'm still at the point where
Oh gosh.
I don't know how people make animated emotes. I think I could probably figure it out, but I'm looking forward to having our own emotes.
There's I'm gonna send you some links after this because there's a couple of sites where you can just put in a static one and it will zoom it. The one I have of me doing the head thing
yes
is literally Mr. X sent me a little cutout. I'll save it in a chat. He
Oh
sent me a
my
cutout.
God,
I put
this
it
is
into a
getting
website
so meta.
as a PNG and then it went around. And I love it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. I appreciate shared resources.
Oh yeah, that and
dude.
Canva.
That's gonna change. That's a game changer. Canva. Where would I be without Canva?
Low key, drop secret hints for what's next for you all is animated emotes.
Yes.
Damn, you're hooking it up
Hooking
right now.
Hooking it up. I love Canva.
But for me, I think I was a performer before the pandemic, and I'd really just graduated university a few years before that, and was typical working a coffee shop job during the day, running around trying to make a freelance career in the evening, or more flipped because I did the night shift, so music stuff in the day, coffee shop in the evening.
Done it all. Yes.
And then your weekends off, thankfully.
Such a good structure.
Oh gosh, yeah. But the pandemic happened and obviously everything stopped.
Sure did.
I'm sitting at my house just picking my nose, wondering what am I doing with my life? And it really started with a friend of mine doing GeoGuessr tournaments for all of our friend group.
Sorry. What?
GeoGuessr.
GeoGuessr. Is that a game?
It's it's fun. It's really fun.
She does not confirm that it's a game. It's fun.
It is.
That's not an
game.
answer.
It's a web game. You essentially get dropped at a location in Google Maps, and you have to walk around and figure out where you are in the world.
In Street View?
And then put a pin. Yeah, you're on Street View, essentially. You just plopped in Street View, and then you have to figure out where you are, and you put a pin, right?
I would play that.
Yeah, and my friend, he coached us for 2 weeks pre the tournament of okay, if you're in the Philippines, these are indicators you're in the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
Here are foliage
2
types
weeks
to
of
look
training to play this?
We were so excited. But the championship was held on Twitch because it was the easiest way for all of us to interact on chat and hang out while also jumping in and off of Discord to play the championship, like the game against each other. And
it's in Discord.
Yeah, so like we would start the voice chat in Discord, and they would be streaming the Discord into Twitch so that we could all interact when we weren't playing.
Whoa.
You know, so it'd be like, aha, I found it, or, you know, whatnot. So from there, I got introduced to the platform, and then being a board performer who was not practicing because I always need some sort of motivation.
Yes, I
like
1000%.
Like you get it.
Feel
It's just
so
like,
seen. Feel so seen.
Unless I've got like a reason or something to say, or like, oh, I have to like do something with this. It's really hard for me to be like, oh, I'm going to do my scales today. Like, woo.
Yeah. I mean, I can do it. I will do it. But I think at this stage in life where I'm not studying anymore, I'm practicing.
Yeah.
Like I like birthing projects or having a deadline or creating parameters or collaborating. It's something that makes me have like a focus and a frame of mind about it.
Totally. And for me, especially with the music that I make, since it's a lot of like improvisation based and it's a lot of experimenting and things like that, like the best way to get out of your comfort zone is to be like, okay, I'm going to put a limitation on myself, or I'm going to read this book and I'm going to do an improv or improvs based on that book, or set a timer or whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, like for me at least, it's a constant, almost like a constant need either to like add stuff in, otherwise it becomes really stagnant easy. It's really easy to just repeat the same material or the same motifs or the same approach.
I found that when we were recording ourselves every time, and then I was doing like review analysis, and I would start to notice where I was repeating things, but I didn't know. I was like, I thought that was a fresh idea, but it was not. I did that on Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Right.
It's real.
Yeah, that's why those notes are handy.
Pardon?
Yeah, I take note. It's very methodical. Like the two processes of like the fully detached from the now kind of improv state, and then the review after.
Yeah, it's a really important step. You know,
ooh, it changed. I think that's where I really started to.
Yeah, because it lays you bare in a way where you're just like, I can't get away with this because I'm having to listen to myself, and I like this or I don't like that, or like I'm doing this over and over again. Why? You know?
Ooh, that's such a good way to respond to the findings. But like, why am I doing this, or what's motivating it, or
it kind of reminds me of like the phenomenon we experienced on the real world, or with our experience watching the real world.
I was gonna say we were on the real world. I didn't know that.
No, like we watch a lot of the I'm spoiling us right now.
Okay.
Like,
oh no.
Tell the story so that it's compelling, okay? Go. I have no idea what this is gonna be.
We watch a lot of the real worlds because we are sort of interested in
doing a anthropological study of the real
world. Are we
world.
talking about like the MTV real world?
Yeah. It's sort of just
my gosh, like
observing human behavior through the lens of the real world.
Big Brother.
We don't delve into the others reality shows.
Just,
haven't yet. My research has not taken me there.
Gotcha.
So far, there are so many seasons of The Real World and all the spin-offs that are related that I have been knee-deep in my, assets, or what have you. So,
but anyway, when those people watch themselves.
When they watch, yes. Okay, so
they always change very drastically, like almost to the point of like, something else intense that could happen in their life, like a death in the family or like a sudden car accident or something. It's like they change like intensely after they see themselves on TV.
It's not 100%, but it's almost 100%.
And I feel like I get that way when I listen to my improv stuff back. I'm like, like, oof, like in certain ways, I feel like I make leaps and bounds, with the changes, because like, I know like, okay, I don't want to do that again. Like I don't want to, like, or
well, you get to really hear how it all sounds.
You get a lot more critical about the repetitive nature of
this
stuff.
brings us right back. This loops us right back to where we left before we went on this tangent,
It
which
is a
is
little bit of a
that
tangent.
you were talking about how your process is improv based and how having that, you were like a bored at home pandemic performer, and so this is like your story about Twitch, right? We're back. Oh
yeah, back to the origin story, back to the lore. But we do love a good tangent, because that's we're gonna get back to that, because I feel like I have additional thoughts.
Yes.
But to complete the origin story, at a certain point, I was just like, I had moved into a new apartment, and I was living by myself for the first time. And as much as like I could be applying for grants, working on projects, collaborating with other people, I was like, I need motivation to practice. And I'm going to do that by live streaming, because that was just where I went in terms of having a sense of accountability. And I would say my first probably month's worth of streams were terrible. Like camera angles. Oh yeah. Like not knowing where to put chat, like not having a hardline connection to the internet. Just like check. All that. Literally just like basic stuff that's just like, unless you do it, you put yourself out there.
You have to do it. Yes. This is my whole theory with improv too.
Totally.
And doing it live is like it's a switch that gets flipped.
A total switch. Well, and I think for me too, like I did not publicize at all that I was live on Twitch anywhere, because I was just like,
I didn't want anyone to
test.
see.
Exactly. I'm like if I suck at it, no one's gonna know, because
no one knows about it.
But you know, like then it starts with the like, there's nobody in chat, and 2 hours of like started and ended, and you're just like, well, cool.
I did it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I showed up for myself.
And I'm not sure I like this. I'm not sure it's working. So I know for me, at least, I'm really thankful for my mod, Midnight Mats, was actually the first person who would watch my streams, who would talk to me, who would chat, who would interact with me, who would be like, oh, here's some helper pointers, or I can help you with this, or like, do you need a mod? So I really honestly credit the reason that I've stayed on Twitch is really because of his investment right at that beginning, and his continued investment.
Dude, I shout out to Daniel, who is our mod. Same story. There should be like a union.
Yeah, well, I just like claps for the mods. Like
this smiles for you, Daniel.
The awkward thing about like not having a mic stand is just the like.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah, I do like. I feel official holding a microphone. So.
Yeah, I love holding a microphone. I love that you obviously have just like a lovely pop filter, basically like cover. It's so good.
It's honestly just because I'm a bit of a klutz, and it's really I've bumped things in stream and stuff like that. So honestly, the pop filter is more so I don't like hit my harp and ding it with the hard.
It's actually protection for the harp.
It's like foolproofing for myself.
But it gives me that warm sort of retro, like, is it The Price is Right, or is it Grace's harp stream?
Yeah, like, and how are you doing today?
Yeah, like man on the street, like something's about to happen. That mic says something's about to happen.
Today for you we have.
Well, that was beautiful. Thank you for honoring the mods, because that is so true. That exact like early investment of like belief and time and energy and support is a game changer, and that's a huge part of why we're still here as well.
Totally.
We should have We should have mods day.
Mods day.
Yeah. I'm just like throwing hearts in the chat for the mods.
Oh my god, I love it. I keep forgetting that's you doing that. You're our first guest who's interacted in the chat. No, not first, but like at this level for sure.
Yeah, I definitely like, sometimes I go into other like new people's streams and I have to like give myself a timer of like, okay, wait at least a little bit before you go really crazy on the email, because I get too excited. Like, people are doing really fantastic things,
I agree.
Someone hits a really cool vibe and you're just like, oh, I can't, like, I wanna share as an audience member the fact that I'm dancing and having a really great time.
Hell yeah.
And all I can do is spam emotes because
It's sort of like, that's really so poignant because that's a big part of why this feels more like a fun platform for me to be on. It's because the reactions that I can put out there are animated and diverse. And like when I'm just on other social medias, it's like thumbs up, thumbs down, you know?
Comment. Like,
Oh, I have to go into the comments. I have to find a GIF. No, this is just spamming you with emotes. Like I can share how I feel so much more dynamically.
Totally. Totally. And I know for me, like, I've started to do like channel point redeems for like little animations that happen on screen.
I love those.
Because one of my like streamers that I really enjoy, Unfocused in IA, she did that on her stream and I loved it so much. And it was
who is it?
Unfocused in IA.
Unfocused in IA.
Unfocused in IA. Big shout out.
Big
but
shout
I know
out.
like she inspired me to do that because she had it on her stream. And but it's just like the interactivity you can't get on any other digital medium aside from maybe VR chat, but that's
that's a parallel universe.
Right.
Yeah. That's so funny.
I'm still really curious as to like what drew both of you to the real world. Like, is it the fact that people
we're gonna get to talk about it.
Stuck in an apartment together?
I opened up a can of worms.
Okay.
Only because like there's a video on YouTube of me and my siblings as children making our own version of the real world Chicago in our house. Yeah, it's buried. Don't look for it.
Not Chicago. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. I need to dig back into the origin stories of why this started, but I'm pretty sure it's because another confession I have to make is that my favorite TV show is The Challenge, which is the real world versus Road Rules. Competing in extreme challenges that are hilarious. That's really the only show I would watch on TV if there's like endless amounts of it and I just love it. I love watching other people like compete at things that I'm like, yeah, I could do that, but I definitely couldn't.
I just realized that our stories of how we came to the real world are different.
Oh, whoa.
Well, I'm not saying how I originally ever saw it. I'm saying what made us do this research. Like what started it?
Yeah, I understand the angle.
And I'm pretty sure it's because I was, pandemic. Hello. Yeah. I'm binging shit that I love.
But I have a different story of how I came to the challenge as well.
Cool.
Ooh.
So I was just watching it because it was on and it was the pandemic and I was like, let me binge this. Yes.
Yeah.
And then of course now we're around each other 24/7. So if I'm watching it, then he's going to be watching it. And he's like, what is this?
Yeah.
So then that is why now I have seen every episode of everything. I'm still working my way through some of it, but like basically when we started watching The Real World, it was because I had some 90s nostalgia. And I was like, I wonder if I remember this the way it really was. Because I saw certain seasons, like, the way TV was on at that age.
Yeah, it's was Sweet 16 as goalsy as I remember when I was like 12,
Like revisiting that is part of me like revisiting some things for myself personally.
Yeah.
That's like been helpful. I'll just say that. But basically like I had some nostalgia for this and like curiosity about my perspective about it from now. And it was the pandemic and I had like endless amounts of time and like needed a stress relief. So all of those things combined made me do it. And then what happened is that it's like not available. So then I had to go on a hunt and then it became a true crime thing. You know what I mean? It just like took on a life of its own where I had to like hunt down this stuff. And then I learned that like certain people have certain versions of it and others have others.
And they're not available anymore.
Because the music, it's because of the music. So of course then I was like, okay, tell me more about this journey that I'm on.
Whoa.
Because they were using short-term licenses to get the hit song of the day that they're playing their music video for later that day, to be the song in that episode.
They were short-term blanket licenses, I think.
So they're like, the season of 98 is in Seattle and it's like Radiohead and like, Audio Slave or whatever. I don't know.
Nirvana.
Great soundtrack. I mean, the
but
music.
But it's insane. But it'll be like this moment. You're watching this moment unfold that's like the first time this has ever been talked about on TV or whatever. And it's like the first time you're hearing this Radiohead song.
Whoa.
And it was just like, there's so much to that for me, like in terms of the things I like to explore about art and culture and all the things we're thinking about and talking about with music. For me, it's like so fascinating that we can't access this archive of documentation of life at this time or how it was packaged because the music is too expensive, and to replace it makes it something completely different.
Yeah. And then Augustus, you said you had a different origin.
I can't believe I just talked about that.
Well,
I know. No, because this is really, to me, this is intriguing.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Coming to the real world originally, like, you know, I'm a child of the 90s, so I just watched it, you know, I remember the first season and just watched it growing up, and stopped watching it on my own, you know, before I met Jacqueline, probably in the late 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was off by like maybe 99 or so, which I think was,
like,
now I know that's Hawaii, you know, but like
one of the best seasons.
Yeah, definitely one of the best
That's
seasons.
because like back in those days, like I feel like we're losing our synth people, but oh well. This obviously this story needs to be told. When you left the house in the 90s to go live like whatever you're gonna do after high school, like you probably don't have a TV or cable.
Oh well,
or
thanks
whatever.
for
or like
doing
care.
a master study.
That's what happened to me though. It's like I missed a whole chunk of like pop culture because like I just didn't have a TV or care. Or I wasn't like tuned in.
Right. And I didn't, honestly. Like, I don't think I had a TV.
I love Grace hyping the stream in the chat for herself. Well, this is really how Synth Friends goes, is we just talk about whatever we want. We already know that we like music and experimentation and improv and all these things. And we just see what else we can talk about other than those normal things.
I honestly appreciate the fact that you're interested in, you know, how you came to this interest. So
it's fun for us to try to remember too.
Well, totally. Well, because for me at least, like before I decided to do music as a career, I was actually doing like comparative literary and cultural studies, which is like, why do South Koreans, like what's their emoticon language and text, and why have like French teenagers in the suburbs of Paris created their own text language that's essentially writing for like French words backwards, but then shortening them. Like, what's the cultural context and things like that. It's like when it comes to like, why do you like reality TV shows? Like, why do you find it interesting to reflect on that? Or like, why are you drawn to that media? For me, at least, that like taps into my like, I don't know. I just find like stuff like that interesting. It's like,
oh my God,
it's
yeah,
like
that's exactly
dating profiles, you know, like I've never like seriously used online dating only because anytime my friends have made me an account and I've gone on, I just get so interested in like, how do people represent themselves? You change your location to another country, you're like, okay, how do people represent themselves here? And like, what is the lingo that they use, and is it a reflection of their cultural background or upbringing? Is it a reflection of like the culture of that city in that country? And I don't know. I just like end up going in a deep dive and wanting to create spreadsheets. So I think
that's like exactly what we've been saying. That's so funny.
Yeah. Well, because you look at some of these reality TV shows. You look at like when they play back someone doing something, and then it goes to like their confessional.
Yes.
Right. And like you're saying, where it's like you hold up that mirror to yourself, you watch them see themselves presented like this, and the out of body experience of like, that's how I look. I may have felt this way, but that's how I look.
Yes.
And then just being like, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to, you know, go this way instead.
Yes. And that's exactly what happened for us when we started recording and filming everything we were doing. Like before we were live streaming, all we did was film ourselves like improvising, like not for anyone to see and not for live stream.
Anybody in the chat here for that besides Obama's
I'm about to say like just clip that sound. We just filmed ourselves. And just like make that a sound alert with no context.
After we just talked about online dating. I was trying to loop it back because I felt myself being looped back into that piece that we had brought up about the reason we talked about this at all is because we talked about filming improv and recording improv and then listening back and going, oh, that's what I was doing, or that's how that sounds together, or that I was perceiving it differently from a different lens when I was doing it than when I listened back. But like when you were saying that, it was reminding me how comfortable I've gotten with seeing myself on the screen and like knowing my intention of how I want to be perceived and knowing how to make sure that comes across without thinking about it too much. Like it's just happened over time. But I remember at first it was like I could barely even watch. It was like, you know, it was like so hard because not because I don't want to look at myself, but because I was like, that's not what I thought I was putting out there. That's not at all what I thought I was doing. I felt like this about it, and then I watched it and I felt like this. These are two different symbols. This is linguistic stuff I'm making up to represent what I'm talking about.
Voguing as a side, side project.
Oh my God, totally. Yeah, so that's how it all ties together is filming yourself in a way that you know is already contrived, but then still watching it back and still finding value in it is something we found out for ourselves. But then when we watched Real World, we saw that the same thing was happening. Because people are still in a contrived situation, but it's still real. Like it's both. It's not
real people, real cases, Judge Judy.
Real cases.
Yeah, no, but it's totally like that aspect. I'm glad to hear that. Like for you feel like you've gotten to a sense of like security or stability in terms of being able to watch back. I still haven't gotten there yet. Like I don't like watching myself. Like the only reason I'll go through my VODs is because I'm like, oh, I like that improv or I like that idea. And I want to save it for the future.
For sure.
But,
that counts.
So, but like, I did a lot of musical theater as a kid. And there's a lot of videotapes at my parents' house that I'm like, I'll never watch it. This
is why we vibe. I get it now.
I'm good.
She's dropping all the crumbs for me. We both did musical theater and both have lots of tapes. There's lots of tapes of us.
Oh, rip.
Yeah.
Rip, yeah.
Lots of tapes. Too many. Too many for my liking.
I'm the youngest child, and my eldest sibling is really into musical theater. So obviously,
okay. Same on all fronts. Check. Yeah. Wow, I did not know we were gonna have so much of this type of stuff in common. That's insane.
Connection.
I can't handle it.
And that's why we like tape loops. That's the past reason. That's how you had to be a child doing musical theater because your eldest sibling did it. That's why we make tape loops.
It's so funny that you said that just now because I had a moment the other day where I remembered that the reason I did musical theater was because my sister did it and I saw her in a play. And I forgot that was the reason. Because I told myself, oh, I'm inspired by this and I was influenced by that. And it's like, no, you were like 8 and you went to a play that looked like a really big deal that your sister was in and you went, that. You know, like it was that straightforward. And I just, for whatever reason, was like eating chips and remembered that yesterday.
Isn't it?
And then you just said that. So I'm just like, okay, can we turn the cosmic nature of this conversation down a couple notches? It's getting a little off the charts.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny.
Gus has not said a word in like at least 45 minutes. I'm so sorry.
No,
that's true. You're here for all the real world conversation.
I've been ripping them up, man.
Oh my God. Okay.
I've been telling stories about, going like in the real world and stuff.
It's so true. You're the reason you brought that up. You 100% brought that up.
I did.
I would never.
I am like
we wouldn't have gotten here without Augustus.
No, that's always the case. So like Gus will be the person at the party that you don't realize is setting the entire vibe. Like he's secretly running the whole DJ situation or like the lighting or just something is going on that's making you have a good time, and then all of a sudden you realize like, oh, he's doing all that.
Wow, that's a big compliment.
Aww, can you handle it?
I can handle it. I'm in therapy to learn how to handle it.
Oh, well, I mean, aren't we all in therapy for something or other?
Yes.
But I appreciate that, and you're a badass as well.
Oh, Daniel is correct. Gus playing the tape loop is like him speaking.
I'm gonna do a bliss for that. Yay! Well, I feel like it's. I would rather be the person who's behind things than the person in front of things being like, it's me. I'm doing it. It's me. You know what I mean? Like, I think like the my English, it's broken.
It's okay. It's okay.
No, but it's I feel like with music and with improv, especially, I imagine for you two, like improvising as a duo, it's a lot different than improvising as like on your own, and that idea of like what is active listening and what is, I don't know how you find it, but for me, like in my improv band, my improv band, we'll get together and rehearse, and it always ends up being some sort of like almost musical conversation, and then sometimes it's someone's leading, someone's following, someone's accompanying, and sometimes it's completely separate things, but somehow still that, like, I don't know quite how to describe it, but like, how do you find improvising as a duo?
It's something that we kind of came about naturally when we were playing live shows to support our first album. We just started kind of like drifting off in this one section after one of the songs. And that turned into looping some things and making sort of like an evocative kind of like crescendoing sort of improv performance out of it. And then from there we started like saying, well, you know, what if we just did that more like during rehearsal and see where it goes and record it, whatever, like see if that, you know, leads us anywhere. And we kind of got addicted to the process of it, to where like all we wanted to do was improvise and record ourselves doing it, because we had kind of dialed in a setup that, you know, we were like MIDI syncing our loopers, and you know, just things just sort of like, I just felt like, man, I could just make music all day with this DAWless rig, you know, like, but it was,
I'm like I think I'm spying an MPC in the background.
But it was like 2015, right?
Yeah,
like 16.
Well, it was 17 by the time we were really in that.
By the time we were really in the groove, yeah. And
then we committed to this show that we were pretty sure was going to be our last show for. We're just talking to ourselves now. We're just talking to ourselves
here.
Like, we're being asked the questions. We'll just talk about ourselves. No, that Grace on the screen is not the real Grace.
Hey.
Will the real Grace please return to the stream?
I'm an android. Yes.
Right as I said that, R.I.P. Zoom. Oh my God, I love your commentary in the chat. We committed to a show that we thought was going to probably be our last show because we had gotten sick of playing our set. And we wanted to make music. We needed to like sabotage our live like our gigging career.
Not the improvised stuff, like a previous stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like your set list that you practice, that you know from top to bottom, and you played it 10 times, and you're like, okay,
we were practicing
like,
so much. Yeah, we were like worried that we were like getting boring or something, because we were so bored. We were doing it so much, it was like we could do it in our sleep. And so that was what he was talking about with bringing in, sort of starting to improvise, starting to go off course. We realized if we wanted to make new music in a new way, we had to like stop playing shows 3 times a week and traveling and stuff.
And
so
in a format.
So we kind of like blew it up
improv.
By agreeing to do this show, but it was at the Smithsonian, so it was like in an art gallery. So we felt like it was a safe space to do something weird, and we decided we're just going to improvise this entire hour-long set, which we had never seen done live in our sort of genre, right? Like and we had never done. So we did it inside of a cube because I didn't want to see people. That's the first time I've admitted that's why. But
I really want to make a joke of like, it's because you're a square.
Yeah, I was literally a square. That represented my soul at the time. Yeah. It was like a transparent, we put like shower curtains on PVC pipes, and we built this cube.
Do you have pictures?
Oh yeah, we have a full video up on our YouTube of the performance.
Okay, I don't know
if it really comes
across, but I feel like if I'm not on your Discord, I'm gonna join it.
Sweet Discord shout out.
Yeah, everyone, get on Galaxy Electric's Discord to see
PVC shower curtain.
We won't let you down. I'm never on there.
Talk about needing parameters to do something. In order to start improvising live, I had to create this complex web of a performance that involved other people helping us design this structure so that it could be easily transported You know what I mean? So we could tear it down, break it, you know, all that kind of stuff. It was supposed to be something we were going to take on the road, but then all the other things happened. But and then we had a lighting designer do the lighting from like inside the cube. Ooh, so it was creating our shadows in different colors. Yeah. It was very psychedelic. So we put it inside of the art gallery in this like marble hall in the Smithsonian.
Oh man, that space was
with statues. It had all the statues. It was so fucking cool.
You're making me want to go back.
Yeah,
I know, it was really fucking cool, and I feel like I didn't really like take it all in. You know, it's like a 2-story open gallery. You know what I mean?
I feel like
there for so long. I feel like I really soaked it in.
Oh, okay, cool. He's over it.
No, I loved it, but I feel like I really got a chance. I can go back to that memory really easily because I feel like we were there.
Because it was very pungent.
Yeah, it was very pungent.
Potent? I think I meant to say potent.
I just agreed with you because I was like, that word sounds great.
Both
are strong in different ways.
In different ways. I feel like potent is more magical. Pungent is more, you put the wrong thing in that sauce.
Like, that sounds good to me. Pungent, sure, let's do it.
I'm really glad that we get to talk about this because it was a really foundational experience, because it was this moment where I was like, I'm going to do whatever I want because I'm not on tour. I'm not opening for someone. I'm not in a traditional venue. I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I want in this space. And I got to play with this idea that we had about the Cosmic Cube. Daniel found it. Wow. Thank you for dropping
Cube.
That in the chat.
Whoa. Yeah. Shout out to Daniel. Cosmic Cube.
So yeah, we got to test out this whole thing of like, what if I just birth an idea? That will be the parameters for which I will practice. So we would just go to the space that we had and like set up our lighting with like partial cubes, panels, like all the stuff we were working on, you know, it was like in the space with us. And we would just like improvise for an hour or so and film it. And then we'd have to watch it. It's very time consuming. Then watch it back and be like, that's not at all what I wanted to do. But it was also, we had, I think, some like loops and things that we had sort of like a structure and idea of what we wanted like the theme to be and like the story we were telling. And I had some lyrics, but everything else was like in the moment.
But we knew that we were going to completely fuck it up. So that was built into the style that we were going for.
There's definitely more like
the space for creative failure. We were like, at least there's a drone or something to save us if it all goes to shit.
Exactly.
She said it out loud.
Exactly.
The drone will save us.
That's the nitty gritty truth right there. Like,
transitions.
We always have fail safes up our sleeve.
But it was
you know what's gonna happen.
It was also the first time we'd ever done it live. We were doing it in our space for like a year by ourselves, you know, like just wondering, is this anything? And then we did it live and everyone like freaked out, and it was like a weird experience to have a reaction to something that you've been doing in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how people felt, but they were inspired to like sort of respond positively, but I don't, you know what I mean? Like I'll never know. So I do it for me. It's all just for me because you can't know what people think. that's my story.
Selfish studio musicians who are inflicting musical shenanigans on other people.
But what's so crazy?
We're there, folks. We're here.
I just want to say, like, what's so crazy about this is, right, like, I felt like I was doing that in the vacuum. And then fast forward 5 years, we're on Twitch, and now we're all doing this thing that I thought I made up.
Yeah, I feel like it's a general portrait of humanity where it's like you know, like you think about like the discovery, like paper, the invention of paper,
sure,
and how many different civilizations and cultures invented paper, right?
And it's all like, around the same time.
Yeah, or like hair braiding, for instance. What does hair braiding look like in the Netherlands as a cultural construct? What does hair braiding look like in Jamaica as a cultural context? Or like Viking braids, which are wild. Some of the bog corpses and things like that. But I feel like it's like this thing of
just casually throwing the phrase bog corpses into any conversation.
Well, how often have we referenced this concept with tape musicians?
Every single one.
Yeah.
Yeah, bog corpses.
This
yeah.
is
It's Halloween, you know.
I loved it.
We're talking about mummies. I really
the
like
perfect
history.
Perfect time of year. No, I'm vibing.
Yeah.
This is great.
Well, it's almost like, at least for me, like similar to what you've been talking about, like that, almost like that game changing gig, or that like shift in the idea when you finally put what you've been working on out there and you get that response.
It's huge.
Or even if like you don't get the response you're looking for, like you have that experience where it was really satisfying to finally be like, I'm not playing this set that I've practiced and performed in like 500 cities. It's new, it's fresh to me. It's an exciting experience that I'm personally invested in. And it's music that I don't want to say like believe in, like put too much weight on it or anything like that.
Sure. No, I worship it. It's fine.
Yeah, but I know for me, like what was a big game changer was I won a curator competition. Because my background is a classical harpist. That's my training, and that's where I grew up and where I came from. And
I imagine that would be a pretty high percentage of people's entry point to have to playing harp.
In North I'm a female harpist in North America. I'm like 90% of other harpists.
No way.
In North
Not
America,
at all.
demographic.
I did see. Skullsy P cheered 100 bits for bog corpses. Thank
you. 100
I was like,
yeah.
I think we woke Skullsy up with the talking about bog corpses.
Well, because Skullsy would know. He's like related to the bog corpses with the skeletons.
Agreed. Love Skullsy.
But for me, like the game changing point was I had I had really bad chronic pain in university for my music degree. I was going for performance, like classical performance originally.
Yeah.
And my arms just gave out and my body gave out, and I couldn't do it because I originally like gave up the harp when I graduated high school, and I moved to California. I went to Switzerland for a bit, did a half a degree there. Well, I did like a 2-year degree instead of a 4-year degree. But then I went to Canada, did music, and realized halfway through that like I couldn't. So improv for me, and specifically the improv ensemble at the university for me, was that safe space that like, oh, there's something else I could do. Yeah. Like there's, so for me winning that curator, it was a competition where like you present your concert idea, then you get a budget for both the presentation and you get a fee for your curatorness.
Yes.
But I just remember sitting and writing that application. It was the 3rd year I'd applied for it. Wow. And I'd drunk a lot of coffee because I was 4 hours before the deadline. Yeah, I know, right? It was 4 hours before the deadline. I was like, I got to do something. And I just remember having that moment like you guys talked about where you're just like, fuck it, I'm just going to do what I want. Yes. I don't really want to think too much about like, well, what idea will other people like? What do they want to hear from, Grace, the classical harpist? And having that just like, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to do it. Winning that and finally getting the budget to buy the equipment that I still mostly perform with. Because
cool.
Really, I got a really nice looper and a really good effects pedal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but like for me, it's like doing that, like selling out that show, having a really great response to it, and like having that moment of just like, this is what I think a harp could sound like. This is, the whole concept was like harp plus, which is, cheesy when you look back on it.
No.
Do you have a pickup on the harp? I assume.
Yeah. So I have 2 ways I mic this acoustic harp. The one that you're hearing now is a condenser mic that's in the body. I was just going to
say, what can we see on that second camera? I know.
Oh yeah. Let me actually just like, we're gonna see the what's it called? We're gonna see the camera of God.
The camera of God. It's very zoomed in for me.
Yeah, it's because I gotta do this.
Oh, it is right. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was my framing or if it was in the zoom that way. Yeah.
I'm just gonna take it off.
We're going freehand. This is Blair Witch now, guys.
This is now the Blair Witch Speaking of the 90s and our childhood.
Oh, wow.
So harp, yay. It's, got all this crap on it. But you can tell, here we go. So the body is hollow, right? Ooh. The body is this thing, the soundboard. And if it'll reach, or actually, let me just turn the harp. Yeah, much better. In the body.
Oh.
Right? You
Why
can
does
see.
this feel haunted?
You can see.
Something about this angle feels.
Let
It's
me.
like a horror movie. I love it.
I know this is terrifying.
I love it so much.
Let me grab a flashlight on my phone.
Oh, this just keeps getting better. Holy harp, Dwoger.
Sorry, this is very Blair Witch.
Burning the chat.
Thanks for doing this, showing it off. I appreciate that.
Yes, Dwoger, every other path is a dead end. We've been researching creative improvisers, and everyone agrees that is the truth. You can choose whatever path you want, but I think that's the way to go.
Well, I feel like it's just new ideas. So it's a series. So you can see there's a pickup mic on the soundboard. I glued that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Dusty Strings pickup system, but it's 1, 2, 3, 6 of these on the harp body. You can kind of see it going.
I love this so much because we're getting the acoustic effect of being in a hollow body, like inside of it.
I know, it's kind of weird.
So cool.
But it's 6 pickups, and that goes right into my effects chain.
Cool.
And then I'm gonna switch camera angles so we're not Blair Witch.
Do you have a preamp that like converts it to line level, or do you just go in like?
So that's actually my current
level?
issue right now. Is it goes right into my effects processor, but
Gotcha.
I need more. I need way more input gain. I need more gain. So my next, I just got this mixer thanks to Twitch streamers or my Twitch chat.
That's amazing.
I know. It finally means I can plug everything into, I had a really wonky 2 AB pedals, all going into a 2-input
been there
looper. But with this one, I can finally you can see it's not full yet because I got to buy more cables.
Always. Oh my god.
And they're
Put that on my
cheap.
tombstone.
I mean,
she was still buying more cables.
Not cheap.
I recommend getting bulk cable and connectors and trying to solder them honestly because it's so expensive.
It's so expensive.
Yeah.
But I'm really thankful for the Twitch subs and the bits people.
The bits people, absolutely.
Because I got that, but essentially I think the next as much as I want monitors next, I'm just gonna switch the cameras back. As much as I want monitors next for my own personal setup.
Wow, that was.
I know sound wise for stream especially, a DI box will make a world of difference. Because I'll use them in live settings, but I've not yet to get one at home.
It's not a fun purchase.
No, it's
a very utilitarian purchase. And
it's not I want a pocket operator. No,
no, it's not that
get
at
a DI box. Yeah,
right.
But if you think about how it's gonna make your life better, that's actually the thing you're buying.
Right.
Not the DI box.
And I can't think like that.
I can't do that in the moment, but I just thought of it just now.
I just thought about the fact that that was the hardest, most challenging thing about building my studio was the cables and the DIs and the stuff that's not fun. That stuff came so slow for me, and I would find myself finally deciding, you know what, this $150 is gonna go towards some of that crap I need. And I just do it, but it happened very slowly, whereas something like a new drum machine is yay,
and I've been really
yay, drum machines.
We love
exactly. I have no problem letting go of my money for that. I'm just of course, it's whatever 50, 100,000.
I need more beats, obviously need more beats.
I just want to welcome the synth god Chris Cowett to the stream. Shout out to the Neve ones, because you were correct. If I could just have all Neve. I mean, honestly, if money was no object, nobody would have any conversations about gear, because we would just all have Neve, everything.
Yep. The new stuff's really awesome too. Oh man.
So Chris, I don't know if you stream on Twitch or you're just a user, but everyone should follow Chris.
Everyone follow Chris. Bada boom.
Follow Chris.
Oh my God. That was
Follow
amazing.
Chris.
Just users so far. Hey, you never know. Find him on whatever platform he's using most for synth things, because he's got a great synth layer, as we like to call it.
Synth layer. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
But it's the building of a synth layer. It's the connection. Because I think what excites me more, obviously, is just like the narrative and like what am I trying to say with my music? Because I feel, especially with improv, I realized after, when I'm re-listening, I was like, oh yeah, I was feeling kind of like that today, or like, oh, like I had a stream in this past week where I have like a chronic pain disease that sometimes flares up. And it was a raid train event, so I didn't want to cancel. So I ended up just like taking a crap ton of painkillers and doing it. But I remember someone commenting, they're like, "Oh, this is such a cool set," or like, "This is wild," or "This is really Halloweeny." I just remember in that moment just thinking, just like, I am just like sweating in pain, and this is the music that's coming out of it. I should probably make music when I'm in pain more often? Question mark.
Wow.
So it's sometimes I think it ends up being more therapeutic for me than for anybody else when I
always
think
that too. People give us, because I demand feedback. That's just my energy. I can't help it. It's just what happens.
Yeah.
And we get the feedback that tells us like, I am also enjoying this. But it was like what I was saying earlier. It's like, you don't really know if what you're feeling is connecting or if it's just for you. I always worry about that. I'm like, I'm just a selfish artist who just needs other people to perceive me.
Yeah.
For me to know I'm alive.
Look at all the noise I can make with all the synths I bought.
But it's that thing of like when you watch it back and you perceive yourself differently than you were when you were in it, and you get the thing out of it that you okay, so like I don't want to get too weird, but for me, like, we are speaking through sound.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about like invisible sound waves.
Okay, cool, perfect. We're already there. Yeah. That's why Synth Friends works. Why it's cosmic. Yeah. Because we already know if you're doing sound, you're already riding the invisible waves. I feel connected.
Literally.
I feel connected to a non-verbal self that communicates through sound. That is not language of words that I'm using right now that everyone can. The code that we all agree to understand each other. So for me, the nonverbal person that I am, or that nonverbal voice, if you will, that part of me that has something to say that doesn't know English, is making music. And so I'm not perceiving it because I'm literally, doing it, performing it, saying it, whatever. So listening back, I go, oh, I know what I'm saying. Yeah, that's right. I am saying that.
And it's only like in that process that you're just like, oh, that's what's up. I needed to improv. And then you look back on it and you're like, I now understand myself a little bit better, or at least like what I was thinking that day.
I'll be able to notice that now when I'm doing that's what I'm saying. I feel like you could tie it back to that, like self-reflection.
Yeah. Well, because like people talk about like music as a universal language, which I don't think is necessarily. I don't think that's necessarily true as much as like music has its own cultural context.
I do believe that's a little too broad.
Yeah, but in terms of like expressing the inexpressible, like imagine having to describe your own track creative, like when people write about my music and I'm just like, oh yeah, like that describes it really well. Yes. And then for me, it's just like, I played the harp and then I added a loop, the difference and I can't talk about my own music. And then appreciating other people who can talk about it, because it's like I'm expressing what's inexpressible. So ask me to describe this inexpressible thing that I was performing. You're just gonna get like very technical. Like I plucked, I tapped, I made a beat.
And who wants to hear that?
It's boring. It doesn't make you want to listen to it because you're just like, well, she plays the like cool. Like I watched.
It's like, yeah, like people are like,
Yeah.
I liked watching it. I liked listening to it. I liked what she was doing. I liked what I was hearing. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you're a harpist, you might have a different take or reason for being into it versus someone who's not.
Wait, what? I'm so confused.
I know. I was like, there's no reaction to what I'm saying. What am I?
My brain just went
another language.
No, I think I just caught up and like that's unexpressible, and then my brain just went yes.
Because I was thinking like
No
4 things I wanted to say
abilities.
at once. So I feel like the
I have
inexpressible.
ADD.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
put it out there.
Exactly.
We're all on the same plane.
No, I
It's all
really
good.
do, and I was really on a trip right then. So I apologize. It was me. It's
was
me.
you. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. So the inexpressible. When you were saying that, I know. Should we just break out into song right now?
I mean, like,
Me
let's just
too.
turn this into a Taylor Swift Midnight's listening party.
Boom! We got you guys.
Damn.
It's actually a Taylor Swift marketing
Yeah,
ploy.
we're actually just gonna become Swifties right now. Yeah,
We're gonna improvise on her themes, okay?
Yeah.
Because we know what they are. Wait. I really wanted to
I
say
actually
this.
played Buchla on Midnights.
Really?
No.
The idea.
Everything that I say is alleged.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna cough now.
I am releasing my own Buchla. It'll just be called like Buchla by Buchla, and everyone will love it. And it's just plastic, and it's great. Beats by Grace Harpset.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, that made me laugh so hard. The idea that Buchla would be on a Taylor Swift song just brought me to tears.
Hey.
Couldn't hold myself back. That is so funny.
That's gonna be my like lifetime goal now.
I now want that to happen. Now it has to happen.
I'm gonna get on the next record.
Well, apparently she does some deep dives on her like hardcore fans on Twitter. So if you make like a Twitter like Taylor Swift stan account, but it's just you inserting Buchla into everything, I imagine she'll see it eventually. Like after you're 1,000
Just start
video.
making Buchla remix versions of her songs
Yeah,
and sending
yeah.
them.
So you need to
it
spend
becomes
40
a
hours
thing.
a week working on that for like 2 years from now on to make this happen. Like
Midnight's
this is our
Gus's version.
expectation.
Oh my god, Mr.
Yeah.
X, you're killing me in the chat right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
Buchla Booyah.
I
Swiftie
can't handle
party.
this.
Definitely not sponsored.
Not sponsored. I know we literally are doing PR for her, you guys. We have to stop.
Yeah.
We cannot give her any more free press.
It looked
She's
like,
not on TikTok.
it looked like
Yeah.
somebody else's arm came through and just did that.
Doesn't look like it's your hand.
Like what is
Yeah.
that all about?
Jeez.
Okay, we were saying something so important, I swear. Oh my god, we're gonna
Oh
get
my
interrupted by a resub. And Modular, thank you so much for the prime sub.
They came here for the Swift. That's
They-
why.
Exactly.
They
Someone
came
was
here
like, finally, I've been watching this
Yeah.
Buchla stream for 6
Finally.
months waiting for them to bring up Taylor Swift.
But
Bada boom.
the reason I said that is because I actually really do want it to happen.
It's
I
manifesting, you guys.
want to play Buchla on a Taylor Swift
Taylor's
album
arm.
now.
Taylor's arm came up.
It was Taylor's arm. She's actually there in the studio with you, just
She's
nodding behind the camera.
She's
just like,
got basically got a gun to her head to making us do this.
Buchla.
Oh my gosh, you guys got me laughing too hard today. I'm not gonna be able to stop. Oh, jeez. Okay, we were talking about improv, you guys. It's very serious.
very
Oh.
serious.
I'll run
Very
it through a
serious.
low pass filter and do a filter sweep to make it compatible with Jack Antonoff's production style. Like,
Oh,
The
shots
sass,
fired.
the hass, the sass.
there's nothing wrong with a low pass filter. I like it. I like it. What?
Oh my god, that's the most passive aggressive. I love it.
It's just because my TikTok feed has just been like, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. Like that.
Yeah,
It's like anytime
exactly.
someone says it's me, I'm just like, I gotta
can't.
finish it.
It happened to
Yeah.
us yesterday because one of us said it like in an actual, like the real, like we were actually using the phrase like, in, you know,
Like in actual English, an actual person.
and like
or-
we both looked
yeah.
at each other and went, "Oh God,
It's happening.
she's done it."
Yeah.
Because when I first heard the song, of course I was like, "Ugh," you know, and then it's like your whole TikTok feed is just that, and then you start going, like,
and then like
yeah, I do
maybe
like
it's
this.
like 3 a.m. like because I have weird hours.
Oh,
but
okay.
To me at 3 a.m. just like dancing in my apartment,
which is perfect because you must listen to Midnight's 3 a.m. version at 3 a.m. where it's the clocks don't sync and it doesn't come up.
Doesn't make sense until there's
the panning is off. Something is just not right.
You gotta have that 3 a.m.
I honestly, I don't know if you do this, but like I'll get stuck on a song or like how it makes me feel, and then I'll listen to it 50 times.
Yes.
And I had this problem with my roommates where like I wanted to take a really long shower. You know, like you have those days where I just need a long shower.
Absolutely.
And I listened to like Katy
every
Perry's,
time I shower. I shower every 3 days or so I can take a really long
saving up
shower.
all the water.
Yeah. I just want to take a shower for like days.
Oh gosh, yes.
I'll be showering.
Sorry,
today.
California.
Yikes.
Drought. Nah.
Never heard of it.
Me showering.
I try to limit it to under 20 minutes. But.
Literally.
He's like, no, I actually do care about the environment.
Literally. No, I listened to Never Really Over by Katy Perry like 30 times in the shower.
The
on the floor
on that
with my
is
other
so
roommate.
Good. It's so
good. Well, and like the like that bit, like but my roommate afterwards, like I got out, you know, like you get changed or whatever. My roommate, he comes up to me and he's just like, you listened to that 23 times. I counted. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I forgot your room's right next to the bathroom. But sometimes like you hear songs like that. And it's just like, no, I need to listen to this until like I've either danced it out of my system or like however this is making me feel. I just want to keep feeling it over and over and over and over and over again.
Yes. Because it's holding an energy and you want to feel that energy. Like you said, you just need that song to be 45 minutes long when it's only 2.5, 3.5.
Which is like it's wild to me that like people nowadays will just be like a 2 hours reverb slowed. Like
exactly. Why is that so popular? You just answered it. It's because we're trying to hold that same feeling
I have
for
a
longer.
need. Yeah, I have a need for the 2 hours reverb slowed version.
I need it. It is for me.
We invented that too.
That is why. No. That is why we like tape loops, Mr. X. That is correct.
Yeah.
There is just a sensory like pleasure or whatever happening that I want to maintain.
A lot of pleasure.
I guess it's a drug. I guess we're defining a drug experience.
Yeah.
I just want this to last a little longer.
Yeah.
Wow, that was really full circle. I was gonna say "Break My Soul." Beyonce's "Break My Soul" was that song recently.
Really? I've yet to listen to her new album.
I was just gonna say the only reason that you're not nodding along and agreeing with me right now is obviously because you haven't heard it. Okay.
No,
cool. That's such a cute thing you're saving for yourself. I can't escape it, but I'm also choosing not to. So like basically, you know, just the vibes of her album are very much like house music and the culture of that, and like lots of 90s samples and things that just make me really happy.
Yeah.
So there's like all these little Easter eggs and nuggets of joy like in the productions. And of course, like her vocals, to me, that album, okay, this is the most pop culture stream I've ever done in my life. But I feel that her album, as someone who listened to albums front to back into like 4 times to decide how I felt about them as a kid, because you had just like the CD or the cassette or whatever.
Yeah. The Lion King soundtrack all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you got to know things really well, and then you could like analyze them. I guess that's like why we're musicians or whatever. But I feel like Beyonce's new album is the first time I've felt that same way about an album as I did in the 90s, where it's a very 90s album to me in that like, you know, every song has its own like ecosystem of sounds, but everything blend, like all the songs have like transitions from one to the other, like album style. And it's just this whole universe that she built. And like every note is like, you know, as an improviser who listens back to themselves and is really critiquing every little aspect, I get to listen to that album and always have something to like chew on.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. Plus it has the vibes and the grooves and the energy and the fun 90s stuff going on. Plus her vocals are insane.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's how I feel about like Carolyn Polachek. Like any of her music. I just re-listen again. You're like, oh, that. Or oh, that. Or oh, that. Or oh, that. Yeah.
That's so true. And that, I think, there's a reason why I can be drawn to like more minimalist stuff, because you get to just listen to the way the sounds are interacting.
Yeah,
Rather
like
than the production or
Koyaanisqatsi,
the
like the
arrangement.
ba 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 ba. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
It's well, and I feel like those like Glass, Reich, who else? What's
I mean,
his name?
we're really getting into Glass Talk Tape Loop territory right now.
Exactly. Well, okay, Brian Eno, music for airports. I'm doing
disintegrated loops, all that stuff that's like about like long form sound.
But it's like that repetition. But it's always like this, like it's like
there's always a little
it's a permutation. Yes. Yeah. I know, like one of the things my improv teacher had me doing when I first started taking private lessons was permutations. Because here's a fun question. When you improvise, do you find that you think more, or do you find that you feel more?
First, I just want to put the debate in the chat going on to rest and saying that, like, it's not worth violating my NDA that I have.
Wait, what is happening in the chat? I missed all of this.
And then we can go right into answering your question.
It's an NDA, you know.
Oh, this is hilarious.
That might be a spoiler. I don't know, but
oh my god, there's like a whole world happening in the chat right now.
Ghost writing. Yes. One never reveals what one has ghost written for.
It ruins the fun of it.
But let's just say you're not wrong.
Okay, that was responding to the chat. What was your question again?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
When you improvise,
thinking or feeling?
Do you feel or do you think?
When I'm thinking, I'm usually not doing something I enjoy. Whether it's good or bad, I don't know, because I think those are too subjective for me to know. But generally, I catch myself thinking, and I'm like, oh, why are you doing that? No wonder you don't feel good about what's happening right now. And then as soon as I let go of thinking and get into feeling, then I'm having a better experience. Is what I'm doing better? I don't know. Am I just feeling more free to make different choices and try and experiment and have more fun, and so that comes across better? I don't know. But I do think about that.
I would say for me, I definitely, it's a meditative state. The ideas that come to my mind, like, is in terms of like, what do I do next? You know, like it seemed to sort of just like flow, you know, they're not really like, I don't find myself like thinking. I'm not a strategist. I like to strategize before I start improvising. So, you know, I like gear that allows me to sort of set up a template.
Ooh, yeah.
So like a structured improvisation in a sense.
Yeah, so that I can kind of go in. I mean, modular allows you to do that just by its nature. But, you know, I like gear that will sort of allow me to just set it up in a state that I can then manipulate it really easily and move from, you know, change to change. And kind of like, so, you know, I definitely keep the process. I like to, if I'm going to have a plan, or if I'm going to think, it's going to be before the performance.
I was going to say, I like how you said you strategize beforehand so that you can be in the flow.
So that I don't have to think. And usually the idea is like, I almost imagine it as sort of like a self that's going to be like asleep or something that I'm going to have to like allow. I'm going to have to set up. I'm going to have to volley or set them up with like a good chance of getting like a good shot, you know, like is sort of how I look at it. But like, you know, just, it's like an alley-oop.
Alley-oop. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that sports reference coming. We've covered a lot today, but not sports references. So you really checked that bingo for us.
Quick, we have to insert something about medievalism at some point.
What happened?
We have to insert something about medievalism since we got to check all the boxes.
Oh my god! Right. I thought I was like misunderstanding something in the chat.
No, you're good.
I was just gonna say that we have less than 4 minutes left in this Zoom, and I think you have to leave
at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, at 5. Okay, so we can jump back in and finish this out because we clearly have some threads to tie. Things always get tied up. Medieval or medieval? Exactly, Mr. X. Exactly. I feel and then I unthink. Somebody put that on a t-shirt. Please.
Because like for me at least, like
yeah,
like
you answer the question now.
Well, no, because I think it's a really interesting question to ask specifically improvisers. Because my professor, that's her PhD, but she's a really fantastic. She's Dr. Catherine Lodano. She's a bass clarinetist in Canada.
Wow.
And she's to me like a really just fantastic improviser. But when I was taking lessons with her in my undergraduate, she talked a lot about like the idea of choice within improvisation, and especially more so in group situations where it'd be like 6 players in an ensemble. Like choice becomes a really important question at that point.
We talk about this all the time.
Yeah, because like a lot of times it can really easily devolve into like noise music, just in terms of like sound wall. Like everyone feels like they have to add something.
This is so funny because it ties a thread from earlier of when you had asked us what's it like to improvise as a duo versus solo, and that's exactly what it is. The only difference is you're kind of wearing like a whole different hat now. You're not just lost in your own process. You're now having to you do have to think a little bit, but it's from the active listening side, not from the thinking side so much, more of making those choices, because I am sort of imagining the sound as like in a 3D field, you know, and I'm looking for the open spaces, frequency wise and like timbre wise, you know what I mean? Looking for those openings so that it isn't a wall of sound, because if you've done this enough, you end up in the wall of sound pretty often.
It's a really easy space to get, and sometimes we really like a wall of sound. Sometimes we want a wall of sound, but it's again that whole idea of choice. But she gave me a very interesting exercise, which ties back to the whole idea of minimalism, where you would take a series like 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you would go through all the different permutations of it. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 3, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, and da 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 da. But musically, so it'd be like.
I was gonna say those numbers sound like they have tones associated with them or pitch.
Oh, hold on.
So it's like a random arpeggiator.
Literally.
Yes.
But it's just an exercise to get. Because she found with her students and you know, with classical instrumentalists, there's a lot of not intentional choices being made, or people who feel like they can only feel and they have no but it has less to do with thinking I'm going to insert a C chord here, and more so to do with how you listen to a piece and how you listen to the music that you're making. Anyway, permutation example would be on here would be right 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
Oh no! Oh my gosh! Right as the harp is happening. That's such a cool spot for it to cut, so we can see where she is when she comes back. Oh, come on! R.I.P. Zoom. J plus J.
I almost continued playing there and not paying attention, but then I was like,
I wanted you to though, because I wanted to know where you ended up when we came back.
Okay, yeah. So right, you take just a series of 4 notes, right? And if you played that over and over again, it's just like, okay, we've heard it. Right? With permutations, you take that series. Right? And then like there's like more and more different permutations you can do, like if you have a third.
That shit's hard as hell, actually. Yeah. Like I just want to like say for the folks at home, that is fucking hard, dude. Well, cause and then it'd be like, okay, and then I will go back the next week or like the next month or whatever when you finally have it down.
Yeah.
And cause like I would remember like I would sit on the bus with like knuckles and just like to point to them so that I would unlearn muscle memory.
Yes.
But then she'd be like, okay, now do doubles for every second, a run for every third. So it'd be like, Da, da, da. And it all just for her, it came down to like trying to teach development and how to develop an idea and how to permutate an idea, and it like trying to connect your feeling brain with your more thinking brain to a point where you can then do away with it eventually. Like it's almost just like learning like a technical skill so that eventually you can stop having to think intentionally about it.
That's 100% what it is. That's really why we like to joke about like the gear wars and the gas and all that stuff, because at the end of the day, if you don't know your instrument and know your technique and know your approach so well that you don't have to think anymore, then like you can't really have that much fun.
Yeah, well, and I think there's like I feel like there's like two sides to that coin, because I do think
I do too, and I'll let you first.
I love it. Yeah. I love starting it. Stirring
it up. In the classical harp community, there's a lot of poo-pooing on self-taught harpists and harpists who are like amateur. Like the more established harp community very much celebrates the classical harpists, the people who get orchestral gigs, things like that. Right. But then you go on like the Harp Reddit and it's all amateurs, self-taught.
The Harp Reddit.
And I was a mod for a bit and then I stopped because modding on Reddit is a lot of it's a lot of time. You can all, that's a long story. There's no hard feelings. I love like r/harp. I'm still on it. I just didn't want to be a mod anymore.
That's true of any space.
Yeah. But like you take for instance like jazz harpists. You think about Alice Coltrane, right? She's
thank you. Yes.
Really fantastic use of glissando, like the whole like. And jazz, a lot of just like tones, isn't necessarily a technical harpist, but did she use the harp to achieve her musical vision? Yes. You compare her to like one of her contemporaries, which was I'm like thinking of her album name, Hip Harp. I have it over there.
Ooh, cool.
She's like really, really fantastic bebop harpist, very technical, really fantastic version of Moonlight in Vermont. But like you compare them and you're just like, here's a really technical, really masterful player. And here's someone who focuses more on the overall like vibe. And you can't compare music, but have both of these performers utilize this instrument to create the music that they feel? Yes.
I did not even realize what argument I was creating when I said what I said, which is so funny to me listening to you now. I'm like, oh, that's what was taken away from what I said, which was not what I was thinking at all. Was this idea that like there is a camp of people who are trained and a camp who are not, and the people who are trained are better. I wasn't even thinking that. I was just thinking I know that the foundation that I have in my skills training it was more of a personal. I was like, oh yeah, that's why I feel so free in what I'm doing is because I have these like muscle memories and runs and practice approaches so that I can do extended technique stuff with my voice where it's not what the community would say is right to do, but it's something I can do because I have the muscles.
Yeah, and I think my second point to this was I really appreciate technique, and I really appreciate focusing on or like trying to learn more jazz harmony or trying to like I did a lot of like 12 tone. I don't really super interested in 12 tone stuff, but like atonal theory. But for me, it's more so it's just so that I can in the moment when I'm like, oh, I have this idea in my head, but I can't achieve it because I don't have the skills yet. Like I can't play this tone or this harmony that I'm thinking of because it's maybe in my head, but it's not in my hands.
That's so true, because like how can you be in a flow state and achieve something that you've never done in a not flow state? I don't know. Maybe you can. Oh, this is such an interesting coin we're flipping. I didn't even realize I threw this coin in the well. I know Augustus had some thoughts, and also I just want to shout out Bardic, our new Boba Fett.
No, you explained it differently, and I don't have the same thoughts.
He totally doesn't know why we're calling him Boba Fett, and I love that. And he jumped in just as we started talking about Alice Coltrane, which is so Bardic of him.
I know. Mention Alice Coltrane, like, wild Bardic appears.
I feel like he always shows up right at the like moment where something's very specific. It might not be better than anything else, but just like very specific moments. He appears. He is summoned. So you feel like because I re-explained it, you don't have anything to add to that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, but I'm so glad you said that because I hadn't been thinking about that aspect of being classically trained specifically.
Well, and I think for me, it's more so like that's more me talking about the classical harp community, having that perspective and my own like disagreement with that versus saying that you yourself have that perspective.
Yeah, I think we were looking at two different coins, not two different sides. That's what it really was.
Yeah. But I think like at the end of the day, it boils down to like whatever music you have to express or whatever like thing you're hoping to achieve. Like if you have the skills to achieve it, great. Like you're like, well, it's like I said with Alice Coltrane, like, was she hip harpist? Dorothy Ashby, thank you.
Dorothy Ashby, yes.
Dorothy, I finally remembered.
Thank you.
Is she Dorothy Ashby? No. Is Dorothy Ashby Alice Coltrane? No. Did both of them achieve the music that was in their, minds?
Yes.
And their expression? Yes. And I think that ultimately, like, whatever serves the music is, I think, what's most important.
Well, we definitely here at Synth Friends will never want to be gatekeepers.
Yeah.
So that's probably what binds us, is that
synth keepers maybe.
We're not so interested in being gatekeepers of music stuff, creativity stuff, because that just feels counter to.
Well, it's why like
point.
It's why for me, like I struggle oftentimes when people want to talk gear when you meet up, and people just want to talk about like or just focus so much on like your gear and this or that. And for me, it's like I don't know the names of my gear. I know I have this, I have that, and this. And they serve their purpose. But it's more like, what can I do with that, as opposed to like, do you have?
Yes, this like comes up a lot.
This synth, or do you have like this pedal and
because there's a connotation to it, because there's a difference between like I need information about this for use. I need to find out something about this piece of gear.
Totally.
So I need someone to talk to me about the specs versus someone who's going to decide who you are or how to talk to you because of what you have and have a conversation about that.
Based really on different. How many Behringers you have.
Yay!
Yeah. What's the sauce with Like, who cares if I have a software copy? Like, I am achieving the music with the budget
who
that I have.
Who cares if I have a software copy?
I only have software synths because, this actually, like this is a Yamaha PSR 2000.
Shout out Yamaha.
I know, but it was a $50 keyboard from the thrift store that I found. That's
the best kind.
Yeah, and it's a really good piece of gear. Like a really good piece of gear. Like it shouldn't have been $50.
I love that.
Yeah, but like, did I go to the thrift store and see it and it's like, oh, there's MIDI output. I think this is a good keyboard.
If there's a MIDI output, I'm bringing it home.
It has a floppy disk.
If it's $50 or under, it has a floppy. Oh my God. Amazing. All I know is I saw your stream and you were doing stuff with it, and you were doing stuff with your harp, and you were doing stuff with loopers and effects, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I was just saying yes, and I didn't care what it was.
Farting on the keyboards. Yeah.
Yes. Yes to everything in the chat, by the way. I'm trying to keep up simultaneous thoughts.
I was actually looking for a motorcycle, and I ended up with a keyboard.
Wait, is that for real? No, that's just a good joke.
Mr. X made that joke in chat.
I love it. It's funny because right now we have a thread going on one of our pages about just a funny meme about digital versus analog, because I just think that conversation is dead, and I just think it's funny to like just make fun of the conversation. But of course, everyone has their perspective about it. But somebody said it featured a DX7, and somebody said Yamaha made better motorcycles in the thread. And of course, everyone's like debating about it now. So Yamaha has been in my life this week. And the fact that Mr. X said that joke specifically about Yamaha motorcycles in response to a conversation about a Yamaha keyboard is so funny to me. I'm just having my own good time over here.
Well, because for me, I think when it comes to like analog versus digital, I think my question or my interest in it lies more in like, what is the effect of technology or like your setup on how I make music.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I have a typewriter because having something that I can't erase immediately, that I'm just, committing to, and that immediately produces something that's printed out that I can post somewhere in my house. That I don't have to like be connected to the internet. I'm not on my computer. There's no distractions. That's why I love my typewriter, because I can be free of that. And I know for me, like having like a DAW-less setup for my Twitch streams, it's for that fact of like I just find being on the computer so distracting.
Yes.
Exactly. So I think for me, like that question of just like what serves you best.
Exactly.
If
there was one right answer to this conversation, then there would only be like one type of person. And And then what would we even be? What would that be? That would be the grasshoppers on Mars from Quatermass. Just throw a little sci-fi.
The interesting thing to me too about the digital versus analog debate is just the fact that issue alone, for example, just the timbre quality or whatever that we argue about, has nothing to do with why the technology switched. You know what I mean? It was literally just, at the time, it was like, hey, this is a new way of doing it. We're going to do it. We're going to manufacture a shitload of these. And we're going to see if we can sell them because, and we can do it this way because of the way that they're manufactured. It had nothing to do with like, are people going to care about the fact that we've switched from an analog technology to a digital technology?
I don't think that was a concern at the time.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just funny that all these years later, that's become the debate, is something that was not even.
I do feel like someone made that conversation. Someone made it that conversation. Somebody, because I know it's related to when BB and Louis Barron made the soundtrack for Forbidden Planet. It was the first time that electronic effects had been used. They were making electronic music, but they didn't know what to call it.
That tasted like chlorine.
And because they weren't in the musicians union, they couldn't be credited as the composers. And it wasn't credited as a score because the musicians in the musicians union didn't want them replacing real musicians in the film scores because it was such a lucrative career to have at the time. So because of that, they weren't allowed to be called like musicians. They weren't allowed to be credited as composing the score. And why was I talking about this? Crap. This has to do with
well, I feel like you're touching on like the thought because for me, like when I think about
of digital versus analog, right? I went way too far back. I spun my time machine a little too far back and forgot why I went there. But I guess what I'm trying to say is somebody said that this is something we should be worried about. Somebody made this a conversation. Somebody put this in a magazine. Synths are going to replace us. And then now we have to compare apples and oranges for the rest of time.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, like I'm in the film scoring community a bit, and I know there's a lot of discussion about like one of my profs. He was a composer in the 60s and 70s, right? He was in the same studio as like Stanley Kubrick, which they always called Stanley Kubrick around the office.
I love that. I really love knowing that person. For sure, because I assumed, but I know for sure.
No, it was a little giggle he had. But he talks about for him it was writing sheet music, just like in a 10-day turnaround, and having the live studio orchestra in-house that you would then just go to record to.
Yes.
Whereas nowadays you have to be really, really good with MIDI mock-ups, with tricking the ear to think that the MIDI produced sounds that you have are realistic. Like Hans Zimmer, for instance,
more time consuming.
It's a different skill set and a different time spent.
Exactly, it's
things.
Apples and oranges.
And could be expensive.
Yeah, and like, are there scores that are going to utilize professional musicians? And do I get hired to do film scores? Like, I do like remote session work, right? At Harp to things. Like, can digital replace, analog? Can analog replace digital? And I think it more has to do with like, what's the timbre? Like, what is the vibe that you're looking for?
That's it, exactly.
And I think especially nowadays with how like prevalent improvisation has become, even for me, like in the contemporary classical scene.
Yes.
A lot of times composers will bring you a work and it'll have sections where they're like, we want the composer to improvise, right? Because they want to choose the performer based on like how they improvise. Which like reflects back to the Baroque period where we had figured bass, where you would just get like the chord, like a 6/4, right? Which would be a 6/4. And it's how the performer would interpret that figured bass and how they would play and their own like take on it that was interesting to the Baroque audience. So I feel in like a weird way, it's just like that's like human cycle of like we find different things interesting at different times. And
you're bringing up that improvisation was prevalent in the Baroque.
Yeah.
Scene,
like it at that period, it was the improvisation of the performer that was most interesting about like their take on Bach or their take on this or that, because it wasn't spelled out in the same way modern music is. And at least like I think, you know, like you were saying earlier in your scene, you found that a lot of people improvise nowadays, and like, you know, 5 years ago, you know, like you think you're the only one until like, you realize there's more of us.
We're all drawn to the same flame.
Yeah. But it seems interesting to me that like across genres, like improvisation has really become
I'm loving hearing this.
Yeah.
Right? Because that was my thought as you were saying that, was like, oh no, it's not just synth people. Everyone's improvising more. Are we trying to make a new kind of music as a society?
I mean, like you can talk about like improv and jazz and like the free jazz scene and like free improvisation sometimes gets a bad rap because a lot of people think it's just like something like that, you know, like bop.
Which it can be.
It can be. It could. Definitely.
It's what you do with the bitty boo bop bop.
Yeah.
Moments that make it improv, that make it good.
Yeah, and there's also been sometimes where like I've gone to see a show and like there's a woman screaming. The saxophone is playing something, and I was actually like really into it. It just hit me at the right point in the right time. And sometimes you listen to that and you're like, not for me right now.
Not today. I'm in a Swiftie mood. No, I think what you're saying is not everything is for everyone. And that's what I love about the online sort of just culture, community, niche-ness of everything. Because, you know, how would we have even found each other without hashtags? I mean, we get to like describe what we're doing to each other and then find each other through those descriptions.
Am I dreamy ambient vibes with a Z hashtag?
With a Z.
Am I chill vibe? Like, am I space ambient music?
Exactly.
What is my hashtag community?
I knew that saying that was bold. I knew it was going to get some sort of reaction, but I had to say it. There was no better way.
Well, because like you go back to like, I don't know, we were talking super earlier on in the conversation about like that whole idea of like when you look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, oh, that's not how I meant to present myself, right? I feel like it's like that a lot with like, you know, social media and how you like where you put out your stuff, or how like the different ways you can offer to like interact with people or grow your community and things like that. It's just like, well, how do you do that in a way that makes people want to interact with it? Or like, how do you do it in a way that's inviting? And
exactly.
That whole
it does make
question.
me, it makes me sort of like audit my intentions about things that I'm doing more. Because I'm like, what do I want to happen? What do I want from this? What conversation am I starting? Am I just doing this to brighten someone's day? Like, what is this for? Is it just for me because I need to express myself right now? What is it? Who is it for? What is it? And then that like speaks to like how I put it out, or if I put it out at all.
And then like you think back to like the Facebook, MySpace days where it's just like, I'm feeling,
oh my gosh,
you know, like, or
literally.
I ate a bagel at 10 a.m. this morning. Right?
Yes. Those things.
You don't do that anymore?
Thankfully, I think it's like, you know, if you look at my, I definitely like deleted my old Facebook account that I had throughout, you know, when I went to university, it was a new it was something new. Because I was like, no one can see my high school, middle school, anything.
Sure. Yes.
Go away.
Yes. I would imagine I wouldn't want that. See, I didn't have Facebook until I was past that, but I can imagine not wanting that part of my life to be exposed at that point. Because you're like, at that point, you're like, I've changed the page on this life of mine, and I'm not those things. Okay. I don't want to be. I
don't have braces anymore.
Yeah, I want to be taken at face value, no braces.
Don't make me jealous, Daniel. Don't make me jealous.
Yeah, Daniel is yelling out all the things.
You know how much...
Wait, he's talking about bagels. I have a bagel.
You know how much we love him.
What? Okay, so we talk a lot in our chat, in our stream, about how we don't have bagels in our town. And how sad that is. And
there's
it's
no
the saddest
bagels?
thing.
We moved here from New York City, and there's no bagels. And yeah.
Oh.
All right, Mimi, I guess she's talking to the chat again.
Yeah, that's really sad.
Oh.
I
know we've derailed this whole conversation now because it's too devastating to find out that someone lives in a town with no bagels.
Well, because the thing is like, you can make a bagel at home, but it'll never be the same. Like,
no, I felt the same.
Like time and energy.
You're not making a bagel. No, Mr. X says that we should open a bagel shop, and I agree. We've actually had the conversation about the things in our town that we wish we had. We're like, well, that's an area of opportunity. We should just do it ourselves. But then we thought about how we kind of have...
That shit would fucking work, man.
There's definitely a sense of like, we're not from here.
Just bagels and synth.
Bagels and synths. Yeah, I don't want to...
No, we can't do synths because...
I know, I was just going to say, I don't want to say this on the stream because I feel like it's going to get out there that we said this, and I feel like it's getting too real. But there's something about our town that made us go, oh, that's why we can't have those things here.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
There's sort of a power...
Talk about gatekeepers.
It's a small community. Well, because like, okay, here's a fun fact. I went to church a lot as like a teen and a child or whatever. When I was in Switzerland, I went to an Anglican church that had 40 people in it. And the expat community is a very transient community. So you have these women in the church who've been there 20, 30, 40 years. Your priest comes every 6 years or whatnot. And it's just, it always feels like you're joining their tradition, or, you know, like, oh no, but we have to have the Victoria Sponge party this, because we always had Victoria Sponge party. So it's like that feeling of just like, you've entered into their community and you have to invest in what they think being a community member looks like before you can be like, no, I want it different.
Exactly. You just tied such a perfect bow on that whole thing that was going off into like church trauma land. Exactly. Bagels in church.
Church trauma. Well, because like, I mean, it's the same with where I was in Switzerland, it was the Italian speaking canton. And there's definitely like a little bit more of a focus on traditional gender roles in the area. Pardon. I remember one of my profs, she talked about like marrying and being a part of like they didn't get the right to vote until the 90s, I think, because it just wasn't really on people's minds. But she talked a lot about how she's the American expat, just being like, don't you want this, or don't you want like this and this and da 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 da, and her friends would be like, I actually like it when my, you know, partner or spouse comes home from work for lunch every day. We have lunch as a family, and then, you know, they do their thing, I have my thing, and like I like the role that I have for myself. And the discussion being more about like, what does equity look like, and focus on what is it, maternal leave and health benefits and things like that. But she talked a lot about how like for her, when entering that community, it was a lot of like, people have to think I'm not judging them, and people have to think that like I'm a part of it before I instantly just go, but in America we do it differently. It's
my gosh, well, that's so uniquely American, I think, too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you know, you could say the same about like anybody moving anywhere, really, you know.
They're always going to have their point of view that they have to now mix with everything else that's going on. But that's exactly why we can't have bagels. Exactly what you said.
No bagels and scents. No rainbow bagel with rainbow cream cheese, or like neon neon icing or something. Like, you know, people are just like, oh no, you put food coloring in it, you can't have it anymore. It's not. It's not good.
Oh, so many
Buchla
things.
bagels.
Buchla bagels. Oh my god. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's like
as a side note,
a red and blue, like not, pretzel tie almost, that would be nice.
That.
Just like bake bread in the shape of synths and like paint it.
Just do that.
Colors.
Just get a whole new skill.
You could get like gumdrop knobs,
I love this as an idea for like a birthday cake. I feel like that's a really good jumping off point for starting our Buchla delicacies business. Bagels
I feel like we're
and
just
desserts
reciting the lyrics of like a alternative universe like Beatles song, like the knobs are...
Oh no, the gumdrop knobs is making you think of like Lucy and the Sky with Diamonds or something.
Gumdrops are knobs in the line.
As a side note, I do have to head out quite shortly.
She's like,
that's a perfect time to leave.
No, I hate that I have to leave, but like my community choir is calling my name.
No, please go. We normally don't even stream this long anyway, so this was great.
Yeah, this is.
I just love the timing. He starts singing weird shit, and you're like,
Oh no! Come on! You've seen my streams. I like weird things.
See you later, dog. Have a good one.
That wasn't auto-tuned enough for me. I'm out. I need T-Pain level of auto-tune, or I'm not into it. Sorry.
Oh yeah, we know your Bach training was really like that's a pipeline to being really
my perfect pitch. No, I don't have perfect pitch. No.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for doing this with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is
super
lovely.
fun, super inspiring. I can't wait to rewatch it and see how I feel about myself.
Good or bad, it's out there.
I'm gonna rewatch it and do some improv.
Oh yeah, Daniel's reminding us we're supposed to ask you, can we be synth friends? Did we pass the test?
Oh, thank you, Daniel, for reminding us about that.
We forgot last time.
No. Oh, of course.
I know, right? Duh.
I think if there had been a lot of just like staring at each other, not saying anything, I might feel differently.
Yeah, if we were struggling with the convo, it would be different.
That'd have been like Marina Abramovic, like the whole like the artist is present, and then we're just like looking at each other. I might have actually been also into that as well. So we could have. I think we would have ended up friends no matter what happened.
There's no wrong answer.
Yeah, it'd be pretty hard to turn us down now.
Yeah, exactly. After like gumdrop knobs and Buchla bread, it's a bond that cannot be broken. It's a gluten bond.
It's a gluten bond. It's unbreakable, and we're all allergic to it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So excited, everybody! Shout out to Grace. Let's put her. I'm sure everyone's already following you, but just make sure you are. We'll throw your tags and your links everywhere throughout the spreading, the proliferation of this experience. Thank you so much. We'll let you go. Enjoy your choir. Thank you for being our friends.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
We're gonna go to this view now, and I have to get out of this now. Wow. Thank you all so much. That was fantastic. Grace is amazing. That's what you're trying to say. Gus is gonna do his Beatles a cappella cover band now. That's what we're gonna transition into for the next hour.
I'm just gonna do it in like alien voice.
No, we're gonna raid somebody because that's what we do here.
You know we're gonna raid.
Oh
you
wow.
Know we're gonna raid. You know we're gonna raid.
The person that
you know we're gonna raid.
Grace recommended we check out is streaming right now. But I don't know what they're doing. So, was that the GeoGuessr thing? Was that what that was?
You know we're gonna raid.
I'm not sure.
You can raid.
Oh, Do You Can is live. Is Do You Can live? Isn't the Zen train happening? Who's on the Zen train right now?
Raid it. Raid it good. Raid it fast. Raid real good.
This was so fun. Thank you all for being here. Saturday is movie night. There's still time to vote.
There's still time to vote on the movie.
Still time to vote on the movie, so jump in the Discord so that you can join us for the movie watching.
Because we, in case you've never done one, we watch a movie and we talk over it. Because if we don't talk over it, Twitch will not let us do it. So we talk over the movie. and it's a fun time, I think. We get drunk, we talk about stupid shit during the movie, and we want people to come watch the movie with us. Like, why wouldn't you want to watch a movie at our house? Why?
Yeah, so we're gonna be watching whatever everyone decides, but I'm hoping that it's something spoopy, if you will, for the Halloween times, because this is as close to Halloween as we're gonna get. So definitely let's gonna stick like gluten. Oh, Windows to Sky, welcome in. I didn't see you there, first time chatter. Thank you so much.
Windows to Sky.
I always forget how to do this. But yeah, so we'll be streaming the movie on Saturday night at our normal time at 6, but then Sunday we're doing the Zen Ambience Fest, and that I believe is at 2 p.m. Eastern.
That's right, I'm really excited about that.
So we're going to be going super ambient, not veering off into Beatland. It's just going to be pure ambient. We're going to try. I say that now, famous last words, right?
It's just going to be like,
It's going to be pure drone. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to do a droney ambient thing for Sunday at 2 p.m. So we'll see you then. Thank you for being here. Make sure to follow Grace. We're going to raid Do You Can right now. You guys rock. This was so fun. Midnights, but it's all drone. This was such a fun chat. You guys were amazing. Thank you so much.
I am going to drone the whole album Midnights from start to finish with my mouth.
Literally. Here we go, and it starts.
And that's somebody else's hand. Hey, I'm cueing the. Get out!
Let's make sure.
We're a hard act to follow. What can I say?
Unmute.
Welcome, indie writers. Why not?
That's just recording from down there. What the fuck was it just recording? How many minutes? How long was it? How long is it? I want to see how long it was. I feel like I'm in that